Thank you.
She'll be promoted when it's her time for the presentation.
Okay, we need to answer her.
Hello.
Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Recording in on YouTube.
Thank you.
Destruction that followed. None of the intelligence we received predicted what actually occurred. We properly planned for a mass demonstration with possible violence. What we got was a military-style coordinated assault on my officers.
No more.
Shane, I saw your little ones on YouTube on my thing,
Yeah.
Facebook.
Yeah.
They're cute.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. We try to catch them at that one moment during the day.
Well, it looks like the gang is all here, if I'm correct, right? Awesome. So it does look like we have a pretty busy agenda. So we're going to go right ahead and get started. So I'm going to go and call to order this meeting at 7 p.m. We'll start off with a moment of silence. And if you all will join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. So City Clerk Domingo, can I have you do the roll call for us, please? And remember, everyone, we just need to state our city that we are currently located in.
Councilmember Clark,
Here, Albion, Michigan.
Reed,
Sorry about that. Here, Albion, Michigan.
Jackson,
Here, Albion, Michigan.
Lawler,
Here, Albion, Michigan.
Lanu,
Here, Albion, Michigan.
Williamson,
Here, Albion, Michigan.
and Mayor Snyder.
Here, Albion, Michigan. All right. Do I have a motion to approve our agenda for this evening?
Sorry. I'd like to make a amendment to the agenda. I would like to remove item H and delay that until the next meeting since the committee isn't done negotiating the city manager contract yet. We don't actually have anything finalized or approved or agreed upon yet, so just wanted to move that to the next meeting.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
City Clerk Domingo, do we need a roll call on that?
Yes.
Yes, okay, City Clerk Domingo, go ahead, please.
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes.
Lanu,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
and Mayor Snyder.
Yes. So then do I have a motion to approve the agenda with the adjustment?
So moved.
Support.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Reed,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes.
Lanu,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
and Mayor Snyder.
Yes. So it does look like we have a few presentations this evening. So we'll start off with Mike Callaghan on the wildfire crossing housing. Is he available? Or is he with us tonight?
I'm not seeing anything specific for him. Are you, City Manager Snyder?
I'm not. Mr. Callaghan, if you are one of the callers, I don't know if, it looks like, is that? I'm not seeing anyone on here listed with that name, Mayor.
Okay.
Mr.
Well,
Callaghan, if you are on, can you please raise your hand and we will promote you to panelist?
Looks like there's an 829 number popping up. Not sure if that's him.
I'm not seeing anything. Jill, did you hear from him by chance today at all?
Unfortunately, I did not, and I'm not seeing anything even on like a YouTube comment somewhere.
Okay.
All right, well, I guess we'll go on to our next presentation. If Mr. Callaghan happens to pop up during this time frame, then we can definitely move him around. Okay. Do we have Linda Kolmodin and Marcia Starkey available to talk to us about the senior retirement housing project?
Yes, I see that they are both on.
All right. And so for the rest of us, if we want to make sure we're on mute so that there's no disruption, that would be helpful.
I'm here. This is Linda Kolmodin. Marcia should be on. I don't know where she is.
Well, maybe we got to this part of the agenda a little bit sooner than what Summit thought. I see she's popped on now.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Good evening, Marcia. Can you hear us? And Marcia, you just want to make sure that you've unmuted yourself.
Okay. You got it now? Okay.
Yep, we can hear you.
All right, great. So welcome. Thank you for having us here at your meeting. It's Linda Kolmodin and Marcia Starkey, and we want to just talk to you briefly about the grant that was received from Calhoun County Senior Millage awarded to the Albion Community Foundation. And the purpose of the grant is a pre-development of market rate senior housing for seniors 60 years and older. And it's a $150,000 strategic grant. And we are in the process of talking with people about this. And what this is designed to do is keep seniors from moving from Albion, attract retirees to Albion by providing appropriate housing to allow aging in place, and then in turn attract developers and investors to build the housing to meet the needs identified by the seniors. We're in the very initial stages of this planning. We are partnering with Albion College, P.A.C.E, and we just want to emphasize that this is a grant. This is not shovel in the ground. This is not going to build senior housing. This is going to get it ready to be built. So I'm going to turn it over to my partner in crime, Linda, and let her explain what we're doing right now.
Good evening. Glad we can join you and answer any questions that you might have. One of the things we've been doing is we formed a senior housing commission, and in your packet, you should have received an article that appeared both in the e-news and in local media that explained what the grant, what's happening with the grant. So if you've had a chance to read that, some of this may be redundant. But what we've done is form a senior housing commission. And the commission members are all seniors from the community who are voting members. And those people are Mary Slater, Eddie Williams, Karen Yankee, Ken Pons, Dave Farley, Tom Hunsdorfer, Mayola Dunklin, and Juanita Solis-Kidder. There are ex officio members that are consultants to us, and that includes realtors Linda Wado and Joe Verbecki. And then Ray Barkley represents Albion College. Those are ex officio members. We have been meeting, we've met several times with the commission, and they form the basis of making decisions about this grant. Now, as Marcia said, this is a pre-development market rate housing. This is not subsidized housing. This is market rate. We don't know what that market rate means. We don't know the location yet. We are looking, this is all part of our charge. And what we've been doing is communicate with community leaders about the project. We met with Marcola, for example, via Zoom. We've met with a lot of other people in the community who have been interested and who can be of assistance to us as far as understanding what the community needs, wants, and a lot of other things that we're learning about. For instance, we met with someone who is talking about what does it mean to age in place and how we can find resources to give us information on that. We've been gathering available market studies, obtaining the information from that, synthesizing it. We've conducted community conversations, and community conversations are, we used to call them focus groups. They're now called community conversations. They're a very small group, 4 to 6 people who are meeting. We are talking on a loose, I won't say agenda, but loose topics about what do they see as a need. Say, put on your hat, if you were going to move to one of whatever this senior housing looks like, what would you want? What's important to you? And we've done 3, we've got 4 others scheduled. These are all via Zoom. And they've been very enlightening as far as telling us what people think and where they would like these to be located. What do they really need in senior housing? And we're finding out it's a lot different than any preconceived ideas we might have had going into this. We are also on Marcola's recommendation going to have paper copies available for people who can't access the internet for whatever reason, but still would like to make their views known. And we're always looking for people to join these community conversations. So please feel free to email Marcia or me, or let Shane know any people you think might be interested in participating in these community conversations. We are going to be developing a request for proposal for developers. We're not there yet, certainly. And we're continuing to meet with experts. And one of the very exciting things is we're working with Brick Street Marketing to develop a recruitment video for developers, also to entice people to purchase or buy into this senior development, and also to be used in the community by the city or by whomever would like to promote the good things about Albion, because we think there's so many good things that need to be promoted. We're looking at potential properties for development. And I'll tell you, Ian Arnold, your new Albion City Director of Planning and Building, has been wonderful. He has gotten us information, he is organized. He's been absolutely wonderful in helping us. And I can say City Manager Snyder has been extremely helpful to us too, as has Amy Dupree, the Albion Economic Development Corporation Director. They've all been extremely helpful and very enthusiastic about this. Our grant timeline is basically to the end of the year. And that, as we said, we hope, well, we don't hope, we know that this development, this pre-development, all this activity will end up with a developer wanting to come to Albion and build senior market value homes. So Marcia and I would like to open it up to any questions or any comments you might like to make. I will make one more comment. We don't know this for sure because our grant is very specific, but we hope this is just the beginning of finding appropriate senior housing for all seniors in Albion. And we hope that this will provide eventually a continuum of care so that we don't lose our vital seniors, so they can live out the rest of their lives here in the community. So this is phase one. Please keep that in mind. This is not the end. It's just the beginning. So thank you. Now, if anybody has any questions, please feel free.
Yes, Councilwoman Lawler.
Thank you, Ms. Mayor. Good to hear from you again, Miss Linda. I can't say the last name, so I'm not going to embarrass myself. You said y'all had community conversations. Are these conversations online, or how do you do it, and when is the next meeting?
Well, they're they're online because of COVID, just like you're meeting here. We're meeting via Zoom. Okay. And we actually, Marcia has been scheduling those, so she might be able to tell you the next one. But if you'd like to be a part of that, we would love to have you join us. Any council person or anyone who would like to join us is more than welcome, because we want input from all areas in the community. So if that helps, we'll be in touch with you and let you know when the next one is. Would that help you?
That will be awesome.
Okay.
As far as like getting the word out and communication, I'm not sure if I had mentioned, but a lot of seniors do read the Chronicle and the Advisor.
Yes.
So I'm just trying to help out as far as like communication and getting our seniors involved. You know, just to make them aware that you do have meetings, that there are conversations going on. So just throw something out there.
And we will be happy to get you some copies of that article and maybe kind of pare it down a little bit to make it just you know, a shortened version of what they can do if they want to join us. So we'll make sure that I get that to you. Thank you for reminding me I need to do that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
Okay.
Councilwoman Clark?
Hi, I was wondering if you could possibly, before you end your call, give a number that people could reach you to set up meetings for the Zoom conference, so they could discuss their ideas or what that looks like to them. And I do like the idea that it's market based, because market rate based, because generally what that means is there's a specific location or radius that you get it's almost like a survey. You gather the information of what those homes were, how much, what the values of the homes were in that area, and that's how you get your market rate based homes. So
Okay.
it could vary from area to area, depending on where you were building.
True. Good point.
So
Well, this is Marcia Starkey. I'll give you my phone number. As Linda said, I'm the one that's scheduling them. So it's 517-499-2563. And if I, for some reason, don't answer it, just leave a message with your phone number and I'll call you back for sure. Okay?
okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, Councilwoman Lanu.
Thank you, Mayor Snyder. I thought that I heard that there were paper copies of some of the correspondence you have. Was there a specific location where people could pick up a paper copy who don't have access to the internet?
We haven't gotten that far yet. We've just gotten these community conversations underway and being scheduled. Do you have a suggestion where they might be able to? That's kind of a problem with COVID. It's where people can gather and get information. Chamber's not open. We are going to provide Councilperson Lawler with some to take around in her precinct. And we'd be happy to do that if you'd like to do it that way. We could have them at City Hall. We could have them at the Community Foundation. The problem is, when are people open for people to get these? And that's kind of an issue. Maybe the best way might be for, well, I don't know what the best way is. I guess I'm asking for your help so that you can get out to your precinct residents information.
I think all of those were great ideas, and I think churches can also be a great resource for reaching people directly as well.
That's a great idea. Churches are a wonderful idea.
My other question was, you mentioned this is just the beginning, and I know there's been a lot of work that's gone into this, and I was just wondering if there's any aggregation of your findings that's happening that could be available for people to just have more awareness of what, you know, people are seeing as needs and wants and, you know, able to build, or if there's more of like a proprietary nature of the findings. I'm just curious about how you envision using all of this rich information that you're finding.
Well, Linda, this is Marcia. I think one thing that Linda and I were committed to is all the work that Mary Slater and, you know, that whole group of people who met for 2 or 3 years, we have all their notes, all their minutes. We have surveys. And so, you know, we have that as background information. But as Linda Coleman just said, we've only done 3 community conversations to date. So it's like 21 people, and that's certainly not enough. And we're meeting with the Rotary Executive Board this week, and we've got lists of people. And I mean, until we get into the, you know, 50 or 60 people, and they start saying the same thing, would I be comfortable saying what people are saying? Because right now we've had 21 people's opinion, and there is some overlap, but there's not like a one thing that everyone's saying. So I think we need a few more under our belt, and we certainly will be sharing that, you know, with the community. But right now, if you put out what we have right now, all of a sudden that might become gossip, you know, gospel, and it's not, because it's just not enough people yet. But we'll get we'll keep asking people. They say you know when you're done asking people, when you start hearing the same thing again and again, and then you've circled the wagons on it. So I think, but we're not there yet. I mean, this is just really started in January.
Okay, thank you. I was just looking ahead. Thank you.
No, thank
Yes.
you, Linda. Yep, and we are using all the former studies and everything. We don't want to start from scratch because that would be silly. So, yeah.
Yeah, one of the things we didn't say in what's happened, and I know that a lot of people have been involved in projects, we don't want to start from ground zero. Everybody starts from ground zero. We have a lot of information already available to us, and we want to make this information we're gathering available also. So we intend, when COVID is over, to hopefully meet in person and have some meetings with information, and of course pass that along to a developer so that that person can, use the information appropriately too.
Thank you.
Councilman Williamson, did you have a question or something to add?
I was going to add that the Community Foundation is working really hard to get this information online as well. It was our goal to have a web page up to put this, to start uploading this information as we keep going. There's just been a situation with the website that took it down at the end of 2020. 2020 took down a lot of things, including the foundation's website, and it just got back up again and running. And so we'll hopefully have a page up there where folks will be able to go and see what's going on and when meetings are happening and pull down information, potentially fill out surveys or see what we're doing. So we're not doing this behind any closed curtains or doors. We're trying to be as transparent and public as possible. And I'm really proud of the work that Marcia, Starkey, and Linda Coleman, our directors for senior housing for the Albion Community Foundation, has done to get this rolling. I don't think we've been this close to retirement housing in Albion in a really long time, and very happy to have them working and serving at the foundation for our community. So thank you so much to Marcia and Linda for all your hard work.
Well, thank you, and thank you for allowing us to present to you. We hope to do this in the future and keep you updated as often as you would like us to update you.
Any other questions or comments for our ladies before they sign off? Well, Linda and Marcia, again, to reiterate what Shane said, thank you so much for your hard work on this. We appreciate it. We know that, if you both are working on this, it's going to be done right. So again, thank you for your time and efforts on this.
Thank you. Goodbye.
All right, so Catherine Kemp, is she on to present about?
Did we just lose the mayor?
Yes, it looks like it. One in and one out.
All right, Nora, it's your meeting.
Give her 30 seconds. She should pop back in. Well, I mean, she can, at this time, while we're waiting on her to go, we can't have you go ahead, Catherine, and go ahead and present, please. Thank you so kindly.
Okay, I can, do I have the capacity to share my screen or no?
Jessica will take care of you.
Yep, I see I can share my screen. So I will go here. All right, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, so I'll start off with, I am the Director of Marketing for Senior Care Partners P.A.C.E, and it's a pleasure and an honor to actually present to you all. I had some earlier conversations with some folks, and I'm just really glad that we have this opportunity to really talk about this program, because part of my job is to really drive the awareness, to drive the engagement, and also the enrollment side. So it was good that the the person that spoke ahead of me actually alluded to some things with PACE. And so it looks like that this is going to go hand in hand. So I just kind of want to talk about like just what is PACE. I want to see how we can kind of work together to increase the enrollment and to drive the awareness there in Albion. So, this isn't, oh, there we are. I have to use my clicker. So I want to talk about, the aging process, the birth of PACE, like where the heck did PACE come from? And then Senior Care Partners PACE, and what is our positioning, the PACE difference, the benefits, and how we actually pay that forward. How does it work? And then just how can we help? So from an aging perspective, and I know I'm not probably not sharing anything new with you all here, because probably many of us have been a caregiver at some point, and if we haven't, we probably will. But the story of aging to me is like the story of many parts, kind of like a butterfly, or I mean, it's late in the evening, it could be like wine as well. You kind of get better with age, but there's various stages to it. So a lot of times when we are aging, the changes are imperceptible, like they're really invisible. We don't really, you may start off with a few aches and pains, and the next thing you know, it just progresses. And so, but with that said, life expectancy is a lot longer now than it was before. And a lot of that is driven by technology and programs like PACE and better housing. And so I have learned with working with the senior industry, I should say the senior aging service industry, is as you get older, it feels like your freedom is taken. It's almost as if like everyone wants to kind of put you in like a senior citizen home, right? And a lot of people look at that as like a prison for our seniors. As you get older, a lot of your friends die off. And so you miss that sense of community. Your privacy is kind of taken. A lot of times you're taken advantage of. And I'm not speaking to anyone that's on this call. I'm speaking to our fragile elderly community of folks. And so what Senior Care Partners PACE is to give all of that back to them. And basically our whole mantra is that life matters at every stage. So some of the folks, their top concerns is that they want to avoid suffering. They know that they're getting older, and they know they may have these complex medical issues, but they really want to avoid the suffering, and they desire to strengthen relationships. They miss that sense of community. They want to be mentally aware, but they want to avoid being a burden to anybody. That's why a lot of them want to stay in their homes. They don't want to be put away in some institution, because they really want to achieve a sense that their life is still complete. I remember when I was growing up, it was actually cool to be older, right? And now to say you're older is not a good thing. People don't value or respect our seniors. Also, when I was growing up, it was really cool to kind of, hang out at your grandma's house or your granddad's house and just hear all those old stories. And now seniors don't even really get that anymore, because now the young kids, they could just Google stuff. And so they're missing that sense of belonging, because their freedom, their autonomy, and their independence and their value just seems to kind of diminish in this society that we live in today. And so this is why the PACE organization will always remain relevant. I'm going to move this down a little bit. There we are, so I can kind of see my screen. So the PACE program, PACE stands for Programs of All-Inclusive Care for the Elderly. And I'll get into shortly just what exactly does all-inclusive, what does all-inclusive actually include. But it really taps into the unmet need of them wanting that freedom and that autonomy and that sense of community. The PACE program is recognized as, it's really quite innovative once I get into the model and the value proposition. And it's been very effective in really helping seniors to maintain that independence, and at the same time dealing with some of their complex healthcare needs. So PACE isn't a new, this is not a new phenomenon. It's new in Albion, but PACE has been around for like over 50 years. I mean, it was launched in the early 70s. It's in about 31 states, but most of them are in rural areas. And this is a model that healthcare providers really value, you know, like our government leaders, particularly those that are over Medicare and Medicaid. They look at this program as something that is really, truly valuable, and it is an effective model of care. So the PACE that is near you. So PACE, think of PACE as, I used to own a franchise a really long time ago, and it was Smoothie King. I don't know if anyone on the line is familiar with Smoothie King, but it's a nutritional lifestyle center that is based out of New Orleans. But that was the franchise. And so, but my business, I did business as NLMT Solutions. So we do business as Senior Care Partners PACE. It's a private nonprofit organization. And we've opened like 4 locations since its inception, which was in 2009. Our very first center was in Battle Creek. Then we opened one in Kalamazoo, then Portage and Albion. So right now we serve approximately 700 seniors. And the interesting thing about Albion, although Battle Creek is our flagship, that was our first center that we opened up. We opened up Albion in the middle of a pandemic last year, May. And it's probably about halfway full. And I'll talk a little bit about Albion and why Albion really is our greatest opportunity right now. Many of our centers are at full capacity. Albion is not. And I was doing my own research because I try to look at what percentage of different ethnic groups of a center is representative of the population. And our Albion Center, as it stands today, 18% of the participants that are there are African Americans, but African Americans represent 31.8%. So we are hugely under indexed, and that's where our biggest opportunity is. And I am putting together a very grassroots, very organic plan to really target those consumers, because that's the sweet spot, that's the unmet need. So when we talk about this all-inclusive program, here are all the things, all of the different benefits. So when a person becomes a member or a participant, we like to call them, of PACE, each participant get this whole team of people that are focused on them. So we coordinate all of their services for them, their Medicare, their medical care, the nursing, we have social workers, we have occupational therapy, they get dietitian, there's the centers provide meals there, there's personal support. So not only there's home care, but and that home care will include things like not just cleaning, doing the light housekeeping, but doing some of the grocery shopping for them, helping them to get in the shower and all of those different things, and meal prep. We help to manage their medicine. We have a spiritual care team. We have transportation that takes them to and from their doctor's appointments, as well as the day center. And the day center is really a center where there's just a sense of community. All this stuff is really under one roof. And if you are an elderly person that is at home, I know many elderly people tell their children, you better not put me in a nursing home, right? I want to stay in my house. I want to be the captain of my own ship. And so we allow them to do that. But let's just say you have Medicare and Medicaid. This is a lot of stuff for someone that's 77, 80 years old to actually manage. I mean, I can't keep up with all of my appointments, and I'm not 70. I mean, I'm just in my 50s. And so to think about all of this stuff to keep up with, a lot of times they do miss their appointments. They do forget to take their medicine. They don't always have someone checking on them. They don't have that sense of community where they can come and interact with folks. even during this COVID. So our day center has been closed, but they've just opened back up, but very limited capacity. But even during COVID, we have research that shows that 1/3 of, they had a 30% chance of not getting COVID and not dying, those that were in the PACE program. And the interesting thing about even the PACE program and the nursing homes during, at the very beginning of this pandemic, people couldn't even see their loved ones. And so talk about, you're already isolated. That's like isolated time 2. You know, no one can reach out to you. And that's very difficult. It's very, very, very difficult. So I love to speak about this program and all the benefits. And there's a team. So we call this the interdisciplinary team, but I just broke it down into layman's terms. These are just the participant benefits. But the participant is not the one that just benefits. So yes, you have this sense of community. There's wellness. You keep your independence. Is affordable, because if you're on Medicare and Medicaid, that pays for it. You have someone to coordinate your services. But when that is taken care of, it actually pays itself forward, because that caregiver now has a peace of mind, because they know that this person had this team that's really focused on their immediate needs. That caregiver gets their time back, and relationships are restored. A lot of children, they don't really want to be their parent's parent, right? They just want to, I just still want my mom. I still want to be the daughter, or I still want to be the son. And the community actually benefits as well. And we're finding that, particularly when we partner with like the Bronsons and the Borges, the hospitals of the world, that they're recognizing that sometimes the diagnosis and the treatment is keeping them comfortable in their home versus, you know, keeping them isolated and just giving them all these different, just focusing on their medical needs and not on the whole person. And we know, like, even through the Maslow hierarchy of needs, self-fulfillment is very, very, very important. Western Michigan, so WMed residents, they have a whole center that is focused on geriatric care, and they follow our model. We're the ones that do all of their internships. And so it's just a lot of benefits. When you focus on the participant, you just pay it forward, the caregiver benefits as well as the community. And so basically how this works, it's just 3 steps. So there's someone, and I can give you all the number, but someone verifies to make sure that they're eligible financially. This is not for the well-resourced folks. This is for Medicare. And if they don't have Medicaid, we work to get them eligible for Medicaid. But obviously you can't have, you know, $50,000 of assets and all of that type of stuff. And then they also have to live in the service area. So someone in Ypsilanti can't come and take advantage, and why would they, right? To take advantage of a service in Albion. After that, then it goes to the validation of assessing the needs of the participant as well as the caregiver. And then we assign a care team, you know, once they qualify, then we assign that care team that I just showed you to develop a plan that is focused just on their needs. So there isn't a cookie cutter approach. So that's it in a nutshell. I know I had 10 minutes. I hope I didn't go over, but I am open to questions. I will try to unshare my screen here. There we are.
Councilwoman Lawler, did you have a question?
Thank you, Mrs. Kim, for coming out and joining us tonight. We really appreciate you. We do hope to see that this Albion PA.C.E Center gets full after I'm done handing out some literature.
Right.
You said that, okay, so if I was to go out and promote and say, hey, we have this PA.C.E Center here, you know, they can help you out. Would like my first question when listening to one of the people in my precinct, you know, like a problem they may have or something, is it acceptable to say, do you have Medicare or Medicaid without offending? That will help me to try to.
Yeah,
get some
it's
people.
absolutely. So a couple of things. Number one, and I know I owe you some information. I was updating it. So that one wheel that I just showed in that presentation, that's finally final. We just got, that's hot off the press as of last Friday. So I will send that to you. I'm also working on an FAQ. Most people, most elderly are, you know, they get Medicare. They may not be on Medicaid, but that's not a barrier. I mean, you can just, if it's something, if you are running into someone in your precinct that that has some complex medical issues and they're there by themselves, or they may have a caregiver, but the caregiver may be out of town or live really far away, and you think that they can really benefit from a sense of community or having someone coordinate their services for them, helping them to get around, then just tell them to reach out to P.A.C.E. I can, too bad I can't type it, but I can definitely give you that number, or I can just give you my phone number. We have a person that's, you know, that just answers all their questions and help to see if they're eligible. Typically, they'll go out to their home as well, because we want to make sure that they're safe at home. And we do like the intake where we just kind of just talking. One, I don't do it, but the enrollment team does. And right now we have at the Albion Center, the capacity is 75. And I think right now we're at 49. So we have 26 folks that can fit there. If they need it, But I owe you some literature, and I am working on a grassroots program. So there are some things that I'm pulling together some things, because some things that we had when I got here, I didn't think it really resonated with our seniors. You know, the font was like a 10-point. It was this whole big folder of literature. I mean, it's not digestible. So I've just simplified some things, and I'll get that over to you by the end of this week, I promise.
Thank you. And
Yep.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Councilwoman Clark.
And Ms. Kemp.
Hi.
Hi. Would you please, yes, give the phone number and the location, your address, location, and just speak it out. So if there's any people that are listening that would like to contact you immediately.
Yes. So the Albion address is 290 B as in boy Drive North. And the zip code is 49224. The general number, so I'm going to give out 3 numbers. The number directly to that center is 517-680-4410. The number to enrollment, so anyone that's interested in being enrolled, there's one number. Her name is Jackie, and that number is 269-441-9319. So if they have any questions about if I'm eligible, any questions they may have, I would actually call that number first. I would call the general number if once I'm admitted and I'm like, hey, when is transportation going to come get me? And I will give out my phone number as well, just in case there's anyone that I can see on this call for all of the council members. My number is 269-888-6109.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions or comments for Ms. Kemp? Awesome. All right. Well, we appreciate you being with us this evening, giving us this information. This is valuable because when we work with our constituents, at least we have a name and number that we can refer them to if this is something that they may be in need of. So again, we appreciate you being with us.
Thank you. And if there's anything I can do to help, I think Councilmember Lawler has my email address. I believe the city manager has it as well. So feel free to shoot me an email if you say, hey, we need some stuff here at the city hall. We need some literature. We need you to come here and present virtually or in person through social distancing. I'm here for it.
Wonderful. Thank you again and have a good evening.
All right. Bye-bye.
Okay. So I guess, did we ever hear from Mike Callaghan?
I did not know.
Okay. All right. So I will ask for a motion to open the public hearing.
No public hearing tonight.
None.
Oh, okay. Do we have anybody on for public comments?
I'm not seeing any hands raised at this time.
All right. Well, we don't have anything for closed sessions. The consent calendar. Do I have a motion to approve the study session minutes?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
City Clerk Domingo, can you get a roll call on that for me, please?
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes.
Lanu,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
and Mayor Snyder.
Yes. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the February 16th meeting?
Move.
Second?
Support.
City Clerk Domingo, can I get a roll call on that, please?
Councilmember Reed,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes.
Lanu,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
and Mayor Snyder.
Yes. All right, do I have a motion to approve the MIOSHA expenditure? Do I need a motion for that?
I thought that it was all under one item as the consent calendar.
It is generally, Mayor, anything listed on under the consent calendar, you just need to ask for one motion and everything will be approved through that motion.
Okay, and so Haley, there's nothing that you need to add for that?
Nope, it's already been paid. OSHA visited us back in the fall time and unfortunately we received quite a few citations. The original amount was $26,500. We applied for a 50% payment reduction. We were granted that, but we had to pay that right away. So we have issued the payment for $13,250. I'm happy to say that our Department of Public Services, they have worked to take care of pretty much all of the citations that we received. We have applied for a few extensions on a few of those, but we have handled the most. Since it's over the $5,000, it just had to come before council for your attention, official approval.
Okay, so we do need a motion to approve this, correct then? Or no?
So generally, like, as was stated, consent items are voted on as one unit. However, since they were inadvertently broken up tonight, I would just do a second vote to approve the item B, the emergency MIOSHA expenditure, and then just in the future, we'll do consent items as one unit.
All right, thank you, Colin.
Don't move.
Second.
Thank you. City Clerk Domingo, can I get a roll call on that, please?
Councilmember Jackson,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes.
Lanu,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes. Yes.
and Mayor Snyder.
Yes. Okay, so I need a motion for the individual discussion items. Motion to approve the medical marijuana grower renewal permit for the Greenwell Biometa Medicinals.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Mayor, if I may.
Yep.
So this is just a renewal permit for a already existing grow within the city. The renewal application was reviewed by all of the department heads as well as my office, and it's recommended for approval.
Do I have questions or comments on this? Nothing for Colin. All right, so this is the first reading.
No, it's just a permit approval, so it's just one vote.
Okay. So City Clerk Domingo, can I get a roll call on this, please?
Councilmember Lawler,
Yes.
Lanu,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Jackson.
No.
I'm sorry, what?
And no.
And Mayor Snyder.
Yes. So this one, the approval of the medical marijuana provisioning permit for greenhouse farms for Sunny's.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
Ms. Mayor, if I may.
yep,
This is pretty much the same thing. This is a pre-existing facility that's currently in operation. They came up for renewal. The renewal application was reviewed by all the department heads and my office, and cleared the application process.
any questions or concerns for Colin on this?
And Colin, this is for medical.
That is correct.
All right, City Clerk Domingo, can I get a roll call on this, please?
Councilmember Lanu,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Jackson,
No.
Lawler,
Yes.
and Mayor Snyder.
Yes. All right, second reading and adoption of ordinance to amend chapter 22 for outdoor and sidewalk cafes. Colin, do you have information on this?
Ms.
Or need to
Mayor, I
add
believe
anything?
you.
I think we
believe you
skipped one.
Oh, which one did I skip?
E.
Ordinance 2021-02.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. An ordinance to amend chapter 100 for medical use of marijuana.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Support.
Ms. Mayor, if I may.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I had brought this to the council some time ago. There was a municipality in Kent County, Township of Byron, that put in a modification to their zoning. Basically, if as the council is aware, in 2008, the state of Michigan by initiatory ballot had the Medical Marijuana Act, which was kind of the first marijuana law that came into effect in the state. And subsequent thereto, in 2012, the state legislature started putting in regulations as it relates to commercial facilities. What this ordinance is designed to do is basically there's some what I'll call savvy business individuals that are trying to commercialize activities under the 2008 law by basically getting a bunch of caregivers together in one location in a big warehouse, and instead of growing their 72 plants that they're allowed under the law, they get 720 plants under one roof. And it's basically an end run around the Medical Marijuana Facilities Licensing Act. So what this ordinance does, and the Byron ordinance, which this is virtually identical to with some very minor changes, I should add, was taken to the Michigan Supreme Court, and the Michigan Supreme Court did uphold the ordinance as valid. But it modifies our zoning ordinance such that the 2008, I'm sorry, it's been a long Monday. The grows done under the 2008 law are specifically limited to the R1 and R2 zoning districts to ensure that they're only done in residences. They cannot be done in any commercial areas, as was the intent of the 2008 law. It also sets up a permitting process. Some of the problems that have sprung up with these home grows are they will overload the electrical in these various homes and cause structure fires, things of that nature. So we've set it up as basically a home-based occupation, just like any other home-based occupation. And so they're subject to inspection and have to meet all the code compliance that every other home-based occupation has to meet. But as I said, we've restricted it to the R1 and R2 zoning districts. Their annual permits, let me see, we've set some general restrictions on the on these home grows. They can't basically have a sign advertising that they're a home grow. There can't be any hazardous chemicals. They can't distribute marijuana or related products from the residence. It can only be the primary caregiver that's delivering to the qualified patients. Nobody under the age of 18 can have access. There's no on-site consumption except as the caregiver may be permitted to under the 2008 law as an individual patient. They have to obtain all building, electrical, plumbing, mechanical permits. Let's see here. They can't sell any related merchandise on the premises, and so basically they go through an application process with the city. They have an inspection, and if they meet the criteria, they're issued a permit to do the home-based occupation for that year, and then they renew. The fee for the permit will be set by council at a later date by resolution. This went to the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission held a public hearing and has recommended approval. And I would add that this is an ordinance that several municipalities are currently have either already adopted or are in the process of adopting. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Anybody have any questions or comments for Cowan at this time? Councilwoman Clark, was that a hand?
Yes. So when people start to grow in their homes at this point, what if they don't register, and how is that being monitored?
So let me say this. If there is a pre-existing grow, because this is part of zoning, they would be characterized as a prior non-conforming use and would kind of, I guess the expression would be grandfathered in. This is only going to apply prospectively to new grows. Now, if the use of the property changes, some of the formerly grandfathered properties can effectively become ungrandfathered. But if new people start the home grows and they have not registered and the city becomes aware of it, they can be cited until they are brought into compliance. The city has the option to seek injunctive relief and get a court order for them to stop growing until they come into compliance with our ordinance. And that's kind of what happened in Byron. They had an individual that was doing a grow, but they were doing it in a commercial space, and the township got an injunctive order saying, you know, you can't do this. And the Supreme Court said the township was within its rights to do that.
So there's no fines or anything attached to it for if someone is growing without, I'm not talking about the ones that are grandfathered in. I'm saying if anyone was growing here forward, there's no fines or anything attached to that.
We haven't set forth a specific fine for violating the ordinance. Given that it would be a violation of the zoning law or our zoning ordinance, we would treat it like that, but there isn't a specific penalty set forth in the ordinance. Generally, we would, I would say the relief that we would seek as our first strategy would be injunctive relief, because that tends to be the most effective. You give somebody a ticket, they pay it the next day, and they keep on doing what they're doing. If you get a court order, it stops a lot faster, and we have more options in terms of forcibly stopping them from doing it.
Okay.
Any other questions for Colin? All right, City Clerk Domingo, will you take a roll call on this for me, please?
Councilmember Williamson,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes.
Lanu,
Yes.
and Mayor Snyder.
Yes. All right, our second reading to amend the sidewalk cafes and restriction for outdoors and sidewalk cafes. Colin?
It's just an all city attorney night tonight. I love it. So I'll just be brief with this one. This one's, if the council recalls, COVID has kind of thrown dining into a whirlwind, so to speak. Previously, we had outdoor and sidewalk cafe permits that were available for what used to be, I want to say, from April to October, basically what the council had deemed to essentially be the outdoor dining months of the year. Because of COVID, people have adapted. There are now igloos, there are outdoor space heaters and things of that nature. So we've taken off the months of the year restrictions for the permits, and basically said that the permits are valid for a year from the date of their issuance. The other thing that we've modified is as it relates to the outdoor signage. The ordinance currently allows for an A-frame sandwich board, by 4 feet, and the face can't be any larger than 6 square feet. But if they need additional signage, which has come up because of COVID, they just have to get written permission from either the director of planning or code enforcement or their designee, and they can be granted permission to have that additional signage. So those are the only changes that we're making as it relates to the outdoor cafes. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Colin? No, okay. City Clerk Domingo, can you take roll call for me, please?
Can we get a move of support, Mayor?
Yeah, so move.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Second.
Thanks.
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes.
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Mayor Snyder.
Yes. All right, motion to approve the resolution for the contract with the Michigan Department of Transportation for street projects.
So move.
Second.
Colin, hopefully you haven't gone too far.
I'm still here. So just briefly, and Haley can probably jump in on this one too.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I can take this one if you would like.
Sure, you go ahead, I'll rest my voice.
So this is the contract with Mdot. This is for the first, second, third Wild and Hartwell Street project that we have. As council is aware, the city received a $250,000 Transportation Economic Development Fund Category B grant to assist with the funding of this project. This project costs are looking at $1.8 million investment in this neighborhood. So we are very excited to have this project come to life. So this is just the contract with Mdot, so we can move forward with that.
Do we have any questions for Colin or Haley on this?
And I will say we did have bid opening for this project last week, so I will be bringing forward a recommendation to award this contract at the next council meeting. And that's all.
All right. Council, are we good? All right, City Clerk Domingo, will you give a roll call for me, please?
Councilmember Reed.
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Waller,
Yes.
Lanu,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
and Mayor Snyder.
Yes. Okay, resolution, do I have a motion to approve the Michigan National Resource Fisheries Habitat Grant Program and application?
So moved.
Second.
Haley, you want to speak on this one?
Yes, ma'am. So as I mentioned at last council meeting, the city will be applying for a grant to assist us with conducting a feasibility study on the dams here within our community. So this resolution just says that gets the support from the council to move forward with submitting that grant application. The application deadline is March 13th. We are asking, so the feasibility project has an estimated cost of $115,000 with a 14.2% local match, which comes out to being $13,100 from the city. So city administration is recommending approval of the grant application.
Do we have any questions for Haley on this? And Haley, this would be coming from this year's budget, correct?
No, this would be coming from next year's budget. This
Okay.
will be awarded this year.
Okay. Any questions or comment for Haley?
Just restate what you said, please, about where it was coming from. Manager Snyder.
Where the
Can you
funds
just
are coming from,
Yes.
or?
Yeah, where the funds are coming from.
It's coming from the Michigan Natural Resources Fisheries Habitat Program with the state of Michigan.
Okay. She said, was it, it's coming in budget, what budget? 2020?
It'll come out of the 2022 budget. So we are just
That's
applying in fiscal year 2021, but we're not looking to take any action until next year.
Okay.
So
That's
that
what I
was,
want.
yeah, my concern as well, Mayor Pro Tem Jackson, as to where those funds would be coming from if they've been budgeted, but we'll definitely budget for them for next year.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Any other questions or concerns? All right, City Clerk Domingo, if you want to take a roll call on that, please.
Councilmember Jackson,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes.
Lanu,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
and Mayor Snyder.
Yes. Okay, do I have the motion to approve the contract for the Manor Costerisan, hopefully I'm saying that right, to perform our audit?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
And do we have Tom Mead on to give us a little information on this?
He is. Jesse, would you like to promote Tom to panelists, please?
Yep, just hold tight. Okay, Tom, you have the capability now.
Okay, can you hear me?
Sure can.
Okay, this is just the annual audit that we do each year. The firm is the same firm we've had for a number of years, although they have had some name changes the last couple of years as they've consolidated or merged with some other firms. But it's the same staff, same people. So they're familiar with the city of Albion. They've not increased the price in the last several years. They've been pretty good to us, keeping it low. The only thing that we may run into is depending on what some of the criteria would be that we'd fall into. For example, we had over 750,000 of federal grants. So that will probably trigger a need for a single audit. So there may be some additional charges if they come in and we need to have additional things done, but they're generally not too significant. I think last year it was like a couple thousand for the single audit. So the 36,000 is pretty much in line with what we've had the last several years. And it is in the budget. So it's basically no surprise. It's just kind of the same as what we've had in the past. Any questions?
No questions for Tom, folks?
I'm not seeing any either.
Okay, awesome. Tom, thank you so much.
Welcome.
City Clerk Domingo, can I get a roll call for this, please?
Councilmember Lawler,
Yes.
Lanu,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
and Mayor Snyder.
Yes. All right, in your packets, you have the applications for citizens to sit on the following commissions. Joe Domingo has been appointed. You see his information here. He will now be sitting on the Zoning Board of Appeals. Dr. Raymond Barclay, new to the college, will be now sitting on the Albion Economic Development Corporation. And our very own Mayor Pro Tem Jackson will now be sitting on the Downtown Development Authority. So just wanted to bring this all to you to know that who would be sitting on these boards. Do I have any questions? Yes.
We do need an official approval by council for these 3 appointments.
Okay. Do I have any questions about the appointments? Councilman Lawler?
Thank you, Ms. Mayor. Do we know how many seats are currently available for the Downtown Development Authority?
I don't have that chart up in front of me right now. City Manager Snyder, do you have it?
I can get it later.
I was gonna say, Clerk Domingo, would you be able to?
The last time I checked, there were 3, so I don't know if that would mean there's 2 now.
Okay, thank you.
That does sound correct.
I believe that is correct.
Councilwoman Clark, did you have a question or comment?
Is there any seats also available for the EDC board?
I believe there is one more still available, but they are trying to find somebody who has a background in manufacturing to kind of round out who's already currently seated on the board. They feel like they could really use some input from the industry side of, so I believe there's just one more left.
Okay. Okay.
Any other questions or concerns on the candidates?
Oops.
Yep.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to say, as we're having this conversation, I know it's been something, to have the seats filled. So I'm glad to see this happening. And there are ways that you can get reminders and notices for each of the meetings. So if you wanted to attend, that's something that can automatically happen for anyone who's interested in staying abreast of what's happening.
Thank you.
A reminder, we need a motion and a second prior to the vote.
Yep. Do I have a motion to approve the candidates?
So moved.
I can't tell who made it, so let me just get a second on that.
Second.
Awesome. City Clerk Domingo, can you get a roll call on this for me, please?
Councilmember Lanu,
Yes.
Williamson,
Yes.
Clark,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Lawler,
Yes.
and Mayor Snyder.
Yes. All right, discussion on the Holland Park. Councilwoman Reed, do you want to take this?
Yeah, that's me. Okay, I've enjoyed working on the Holland Park project. It's been a lot of hard work, both mentally and physically, but the task now is to get the pavilion put up. And we need to get it put up this summer. I met and had a discussion with Manager Snyder about Holland Park, and I need to get the pavilion placed this summer. Reasons for my urgency to get it placed: we need to get it placed while there are still members of the Holland family able to attend the dedication. Some are experiencing health problems, so we don't want to wait until they are unable to travel back here to see what the park looks like in honor of their father. I spoke with Ms. Jill Hines from the YMCA. And again, this year they will be using Holland Park for part of the recreation program for the kids. The pavilion will give them a place to eat lunch and to meet for instructions. Also, Dante will be doing his jazzercise classes in the park this year. Since it's across the street from the senior center, it's a perfect place for the senior part of the recreation together for their exercises in Holland Park. Holland Park has many senior accessible features such as bathrooms, walkways, and exercise equipment in the senior section. In talking with Mr. Mark Lely, Holland Park would be the perfect place for those walking the walking trail from down around by the college on through Albion, and the one they're going to put through to Marshall, which goes right by the park. The bikers on their cross-country rides, and the canoers that would like to stop for lunch while traveling the Kalamazoo waterway. Food trucks could also be available for food for luncheons. The reconstruction of the Albion Street Bridge in 2022 is going to be a real asset. It will make the park more accessible, usable, and inviting. Manager Snyder commented that we might even have a couple of council meetings out there. And I thought that would be a really neat idea. Okay, it was originally thought that the City Department of Public Works, could help in placing the pavilion, but that's not going to happen now. The pavilion needs things that the city does not have to help provide to put it up. So therefore, we're going to have to go with the company placing the pavilion. There's some monies left in the Calhoun County Park grants, and I am going to be requesting that it be used for this project. And Manager Snyder and I have discussed applying for other grants. Holland Park is too close to completion. It's so close to completion, but we need to get that pavilion up, and for the reasons stated, we need to get it up now. We are in need of about $32,000. It was cut down from 51 that the company was asking because there are some things that Albion can do. And so now it's running around $32,000. So tonight, I would like to let the community of Albion or anyone that would like to help know how you can donate to the Holland Park project. You can write a check or a money order to the City of Albion, earmark it, Holland Park. Or you can bring in a large bag of $100 bills, and I'd be sure we'd be glad to help you count them. Just have to know, you have to leave them with us and mark it Holland Park. I will personally send you a thank you note, and you will be sent a letter for your donation for tax purposes. I would like to take this time to thank two people who have already did this. Mrs. Peggy gave a $1,000 donation for Highland Park, and Mrs. Penny Smith sent in a $50 donation for Highland Park. The heartfelt thank you goes out to both of these ladies. Now, Albion, your help is needed and it will be greatly appreciated. So please either send in your check or bring down your bag of $100 bills. And council people, if you would like to do so too, please feel free. Thank you.
So Councilwoman Reed, did I get this correct? $32,000 is needed to put the pavilion up?
Yes.
Okay. Do we have any? Yep, Councilwoman Lawler.
Thank you, Ms. Mayor. I heard you say something about some of the work the city employees can do or help out with putting up the pavilion. I'm just gonna ask if we can make sure that the company is doing everything they can to make this safe. I'm not sure if I mean, I'm just concerned about liability or something, screw or anything coming loose. So I just want to make sure that anything that this company can do to make it safe and not have so many hands in it.
Councilmember Lawler, if I may.
Yeah.
The $30,000 estimate that Councilmember Reed gave, that is for the company to do the installation of the pavilion. What the city would be doing, what part we would be handling, we have put out bids, are soliciting estimates for the cement slab that the pavilion will need to sit on. So that is the one part that the city will essentially take care of. We are soliciting estimates to get that part put in and take, but we will not, our guys will not be physically installing the pavilion. No, that is what the company will be doing.
Okay, let me go through this customer to excavate prior to footing and install stone base and pad after shelter installation. What we will be doing is providing for the cement. We will be doing the cleaning up of before it's placed, the groundwork, and we will be doing the seeding and putting out dirt after it's placed. But the actual placing of the pavilion was much more than I think the person who gave me the yes, we can do it thing knew it would be, because this pavilion is top grade and it's solid steel. And so can't take the chance of our people, and it's gonna need equipment provided that we don't have, but the company does. That's why we're gonna have to pay the company to place it. But they originally wanted $52,000, but the things that we can do brought it down to $30,000.
Councilwoman Clark.
So that's the total price, 30,000, or is there going to be an additional amount asked in the future once you get started with this project? Because I heard, I wasn't clear about the cement part. So does that mean that the cement is additional cost to the 30,000?
Yeah.
So total, we're still looking at, it is still going to be a $60,000 to $70,000 project. Just from the company, they are able to install the pavilion for us for $30,000 instead of the full $70,000+. But we are still anticipating on spending an additional $60,000 to $70,000 to get this pavilion put up.
I don't think people really realize how much things cost. Everything that's out there has, you pay a pretty price for it. So it's very expensive.
Yes, Councilwoman Lawler.
Thank you, Ms. Mayor. I was just, You said we will probably still be spending an extra 30 or 60,000 even after you've come to council for this 30,000, you'll be coming back for some more money?
We're not coming to council. I am not coming to council for the city to pay that money because we don't have it. We have that's left over from what was in the millage, the park millage. But that wasn't, I don't think, but what, 13,000 that was left over? So I'm letting the citizens of Albion know that if they would like to help us provide for this, along with the fact that Mrs. Snyder and I are both looking for grants and monies to help provide this. But if there's someone who has some money that they would like to put towards it, please feel free.
Any other questions? Yeah, Councilman Lemieux.
Thank you, Mayor Snyder. If I can just confirm, I think what City Manager Snyder was saying in total, because we did get a grant to pay for the pavilion, the additional amount could be upwards to 60 or 70, but right now we're looking at the exact amount that the contractor would require to assemble in addition to the concrete costs, which together makes that 60 or 70.
Yes.
Correct. And I just received word from Director Miller. He said he has received one quote on the cement, and that one has come in about 14,000. So depending on what, yes.
Councilwoman Clark, did you have your hand up again?
No.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Sorry.
All right, well, thank you for that update, Councilwoman Reed. We appreciate that. And like you said, if there's any donors, definitely that it's a good use. Okay, discussion on general engineering services contract. City Manager Snyder, do you want to handle this one?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So I just wanted to bring this to council's attention. The city has a contract for general engineering services with Whiteman and Associates. That contract is set to expire at the end of this month. So I wanted to bring that to your attention. It is city administration's recommendation to renew the contract with Whiteman and Associates. They have been with the city for quite some time. They know the ins and outs of our cities. They have been assisting us with all of our ongoing projects. Mickey Bittner, who is the head engineer, he is very helpful and is great to work with. So city is recommending that we would like to renew, but it is essentially up to council whether you guys would like to put out an RFP for engineering services or stick with the firm that we have and renew the contract with them. So I just wanted to bring this to council's attention and kind of get some guidance on what you would like to do.
So since our current contract is up at the end of this month, do we need to have something on the next agenda item to figure out what we want to do?
Yep, depending on what you would like to do. If you would like to put out an RFP to request proposals for engineering services, or I can provide you with an updated rate from Whiteman and Associates and present that to you.
And how many years have we been working with Whiteman and Associates?
I know it has been some time. The current contract was for 10 years, but I know that they were the engineer before that. The current contract, Colin, can you advise on how long? Do you know?
I can tell you they've been our engineers as long as I've been with the city, and I've been with the city since 2011, so at least 10 years. And one thing I would add, I think the council should make a determination about whether they want to renew the contract with Whiteman or do an RFP, but you don't want to have their proposal and then decide to do an RFP, because if you do that, you're going to put Whiteman at a disadvantage in terms of their submitting a proposal, because everyone else will be able to see what their numbers are and could potentially undercut them.
I guess I would ask is there any reason why we would not continue working with them? Okay, Councilwoman Clark.
You should always get other, my opinion, you should always get other proposals, or just because you're working with somebody, you've been working with somebody for years, it doesn't mean that you couldn't find somebody better or either and can do the job just as well and get it at a cheaper price. So, you know, if you just kind of always do things as standard quo, you always get standard quo.
And if I can add, that is great points that Councilmember Clark made. And just working with Whiteman, they have been a great tool to have, and they've been really great to work with. I will remind council, they are currently working the capital asset, that big, large capital asset management plan. They are working to complete that for the city. So they are the lead engineers on all of our city projects. Having worked with the city for so long, they know the ins and outs of the cities. They know the city's needs with infrastructure. They are working with us to help us tackle our dire infrastructure needs. So yes, Councilmember Clark does bring valid points that you do always run the risk of having another engineer firm who may offer services at a reduced cost, but I don't want to let go of the fact that they have the history here in Albion. They truly do know the needs of the community.
And I was going to ask, would like anything major be disrupted if we decided to, you know, use another firm? Like, what are they currently working on with us?
They are the lead engineer on our upcoming road projects. They are working with all of everything that we're doing, the feasibility studies with the dams. They are doing a water, a lot of things for the water department. So they are working on a lot of different avenues within our community.
Manager Snyder, is
Yes,
this
ma'am.
Mickey Britner?
Yes, Mickey Bittner. Yes, he is the head engineer with Whiteman.
Yeah, he's good.
They're the ones working for the sidewalk improvement project that we have, the citywide. So they're the lead on all of the main projects going on right now.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions or concerns for City Manager Snyder on this? So do we need to do anything with this right now? Or
yes, I need to know which direction you would like to see, whether if we are going to be releasing an RFP for engineering services, or if you would like for me to bring an updated service agreement with Whiteman and Associates.
So is this something that we do a vote on?
Someone would need to make a motion on yes, which.
Point of order, it says discussion. It doesn't say for us to approve or anything.
If I'm correct, I believe you can, the council member has the right to make a motion on a discussion item.
I mean, would it be problematic if we put it on the next agenda for an action item?
I would need to know which route would you like to take? Are we looking to release an RFP for engineering services, or would you like for us to come at the next council meeting with an updated proposal from Whiteman and Associates? But as I want to read what Attorney Harkness said, we need to choose one direction or the other, because it does put Whiteman at a disadvantage if we do bring forward their proposal and we still decide to release an RFP.
Okay, yes, Councilman Lanu.
Thank you, Mayor Snyder. City Manager Snyder, well, that's weird. I said that back to back. Did I hear correctly? This is updated annually, or is it, how long is the contract?
The most recent contract was in place for 10 years.
10 years. Okay. That's why this, okay. Thank you. And so we're looking at another 10-year contract.
Yes, it would be. And I'm being told that Mickey has been the city engineer for over 20 years. So he has worked with the city for quite some time.
You're asking if we want to update his.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Give me again what you want, what you had said there.
We just need to know which direction council would like to take. If you would like for the city to release an RFP seeking proposals for engineering services, or if you would like for us to bring an updated rate or proposal agreement from Whiteman and Associates for approval.
Ms. Mayor,
Council. Go ahead, Colin.
your other alternative is if you want to make this into an action item tonight, you can amend your agenda by a supermajority. So if somebody makes a motion to amend the agenda to make it a discussion action, to, one way or the other, to bring forth a proposal from Whiteman or to approve bringing of an RFP, if 5 members of council vote to amend the agenda, you can do that tonight.
I would like to do that.
So that's a motion from Councilwoman Reed. Do I have a second on that?
Support.
And, okay. I'm not giving support. I'm just saying I wanted to hear what Williams had to say, but.
Yeah.
And the motion would have to be clarified whether it's for the RFP or whether it's to bring forth the proposal from Whiteman.
What's the proposal?
Point of information, Councilmember Reed has made a motion to amend the agenda to add the action item of approving a presentation from Whiteman and Associates to extend their contract. Councilmember Reed has moved, Councilmember Williamson has seconded, and now it's up for discussion and action. And this is just to amend the agenda to put this action item on there, and then we would move into discussion on that action item.
Yes.
Okay, so that was Councilman Reed that asked that question. Okay.
So yeah, she was the first to bring that motion. Councilman Williamson seconded. Councilwoman Lanu had her hand up. Did you have
Thank you,
something
Mayor
to add?
Snyder. Is there any precedence for shorter contractual terms than 10 years? Because I see the need to have continuity at this time, considering all of the open projects. But I also hear Councilmember Clark's point of, seeing what else we could also be offered. And so I'm just curious what, if there's any in between.
You can set whatever contractual term you want, as long as both sides agree. Generally, the longer the contract, it tends to result in the best rates for the city. And when you have a longer contract, you have it locked in for a longer period of time. But there is nothing that would preclude the city from doing a shorter term contract.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Reed?
I know Mickey's group has done a lot of work for us, and I've known him for a number of years. He seems to be a very honest person. If you call him about information or something, he's always willing to give it to you, tell you about it, do whatever he can to make it a workable solution.
Any other questions or comments on the motion on the table? All right, City Clerk Domingo, can I get a roll call on this, please?
Councilmember Williamson,
Yes.
Clark,
No.
Reed,
Yes.
Jackson,
Mayor Pro Tem Jackson, you're on mute.
Yeah, I'm on mute. No.
Waller,
No.
Lanu,
Yes.
and Mayor Snyder.
Yes. So where did that leave us?
So since you didn't have since 5 members of council didn't vote in favor of amending the agenda, it remains a discussion item only.
Okay, and so then we would bring it to the next agenda as an action item, or?
Well, I think what would be helpful for the manager would be to at least get a sense from council what direction council wants to go, whether that be RFP or a renewal contract with Whiteman. But, you know, like I said, it would really behoove the council, if you're going to go with Whiteman, you need to go with Whiteman. You can't get their numbers and then say, wow, you know, we don't really like this, we're going to go do an RFP, because then they're put at a disadvantage and it undermines the bidding process.
Yes, Councilman Williamson.
For as long as I've been on council, which still isn't long enough for some, we have the better rates with people who we've had loyalty from and to. Whiteman Associates has done a good job on all of our planning materials since I've been on council, and before I've been on council. They're thorough. They always have the price structure ready. They bring in what they know and what they don't know, and they're honest about that. They provide an honest assessment about the work that we're doing. If we were to move to an RFP process, you are instantly pushing Whiteman back out into the RFP process, which means cost for services will automatically go up. I mean, it's not to say they won't go up a little bit, even if we renegotiate with them. But you are guaranteeing that your prices are going to go up with Whiteman and Associates by doing this. So, I mean, if you want to go through an RFP process, we can go through a lengthy RFP process, and then maybe, just maybe, we'll get a deal for the city. But more importantly, to understand is almost inevitably we will pay more for these services. So, and we always have when we do this. So I've always been an advocate for going with what we know, especially if we've had 20 years of a good track record. So, and I also think it's important that we decide tonight so that the next meeting we know what's going to happen, whether we're going for an RFP process or we're going to be receiving an updated contract. So I definitely am firmly behind the going with Whiteman and Associates and getting an updated contract.
So,
yeah, go ahead, Mayor Pro Tem Jackson.
If I may say, I do understand that our RFP system, and I just believe that we just kind of on a different grounds right now about that. I wouldn't ask them to do RFP because I wouldn't want it to be risen. But if there's some other information that maybe our city manager can bring to us that we can talk about before we come back to the other meeting, so that we can clearly know that, okay, we need to go with this company because you guys know of that company. But just kind to help some of the other council members just ease that feeling so that they make sure they are going with the right individual. That's all that I'm seeing. I'm quite sure you guys understand that process.
The biggest thing, Mayor Pro Tem, if I may, the history that they have with our city. Since my short time here at the city, with speaking with Mickey, he has shared, I've learned so much just with talking with him. He can fill me on different projects that happened with the city from years ago. So they really do have that insight of what has happened here in the community, what are some of our needs, and they are actively working with us to make sure that we address them. So I really do want to stress that it is a little hesitant, just worrisome if we could be losing that. Yes. And going with a brand new company. So I just want to be mindful of all of the knowledge that they have on our community and all of everything that the hard work that they have done for us. They have been great to work with. All of the materials that they provide lots of detail and great explanation. They provide us with all different options when looking into into a project. They don't always just come with this is one solution. They always provide more than one option. So I just would like to stress that they have been really great to work with.
Councilwoman Clark.
I yield.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, I guess I haven't heard of any issues with the history that we've had with this group so far. Just looking at the work that they've done in and around the city, it's been pretty impressive. We all travel the streets, we see the sidewalks, we see, what they've had their hands in. So I guess I would, kind of like what Mayor Pro Tem Jackson was stating, maybe at the next meeting, if City Manager Snyder can provide us some more information, kind of like on the longevity, the projects that they worked on, just to give us a little bit more background on what this group has done for the city thus far, and the satisfaction, so that, you know, we could be more at ease, you know, because like Councilman Williamson was saying, you know, we're all relatively new, you know, on the council. So that would probably be good information for us to have before we make a decision on this.
Absolutely, and I'm sure Mickey Bittner, the head engineer, would be happy to come and answer any questions that any of you may have. So I will ask that, see if he is available to attend next meeting.
Awesome, thank you. Okay. Are we on the discussion for public service update?
Yes. Jesse, if you would promote Director Miller, please. So I know Mayor Pro Tem Jackson, as well as Councilmember Clark, asked for different updates regarding the Department of Public Services. So Director Miller will provide you with an update on what's happening in our DPW.
All right, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Great. So we're probably going to hit on the hot buttons right now: snow removal and tree removal. So just so everybody knows, on tree removal, we were pretty far behind as the city goes when I took over in October. And basically, I kind of created a program where I took everything that we had in a pile, kind of tried to correlate it with what the guys knew of as far as dangerous trees. And then, of course, any new complaints that came in as dangerous trees. We put them on a list. We go out, look at the trees physically, and rate them as how dangerous they are. And what we've done, we've started at the most dangerous trees, and we've worked down the list, you know, doing most dangerous to least dangerous. So far, we've done over 20 trees, and we've ground over 30 stumps. The reason there's more stumps is because they didn't get to them when the tree removal process stopped before me. Just so everyone knows, I have Rusty Four Farms. He's the one with the contract. I have him stopped right now just so I can kind of take a look at the budget, see where we are with numbers, make sure we're not going to go over for the year because it's so early. So continue, you know, if you see a tree that's dangerous, continue to call in, let us know. We'll add it to the list. That way, when we start back up, we know where to go. As far as snow removal goes, you guys kind of wanted a process last meeting. Basically, we just kind of keep an eye on the weather. Depending on expected accumulation, I'll wake up periodically through the night. The street foreman will wake up throughout the night. We just keep an eye on it. I live right on Michigan Ave here in town, so it's a pretty good traveled road. I can kind of see what it's going to do. It's a main trunk line. Typically, I call the guys in about 3 a.m. Takes them about an hour to get in, get the trucks going, and get started. They have to hit the state trunk line first before they do any secondaries. If it's snowing a lot throughout the night, they will stay on the state trunk line all night long. They won't hit any secondaries until the snow stops because we have to keep that open for the state. I also make sure that they hit the major intersections because that's a danger to people driving and our police department. Once the accumulation kind of slows down, they start hitting the secondaries, getting the rest of the city opened up. The way we used to do it is we had 6 good plow trucks. And we broke the city up into 3 plow routes. Our equipment, we just don't have that equipment anymore. This last major snow we had, we were down to 2 plow trucks and 1 salt truck. So they broke the city down in the halves, and that's why it took so long to get everything cleared out. Hopefully in the future we can get better equipment, new equipment, and just go back to that, getting the snow off the road in a more reasonable time so everybody can get to work and go about their daily life. Any questions on those 2 things? Go ahead.
Councilwoman Reed.
Patrick, I asked about that and what are we going to do about some more plow trucks? I tell you why. I had people call me, they weren't always in precinct 2. They were in other precincts. But I know in precinct 2, after that big snow, it was still that whole week, nothing really got done. And people who were going down Eden Street, turning in on Mulberry Street twice, I saw cars. One had slid up into a lady's yard, the lady's yard. One had slid into the street pole thing because the snow was so deep. Now, I'm being very honest with you. I got in my car and I went riding. I just wanted to see what was done on the other side. And on the other side, on the east side, it was a lot clearer than it was on the west side. I had people who was on Carson Street. I turned in on that street and it was so deep until I almost got stuck, and I had new tires on my car. So, you know, and people were calling, asking questions about, you know, why is this area not plowed when that area is plowed and things like that. That's why I question as to what streets do you do first, what street, and everybody says, I pay taxes too. And I tell them, I pay taxes too, but mine didn't get plowed that well either, you know. So the thing of it is, I just really wanted to know, because every snow time, it can't be that one side gets more attention than the other.
Yep, I completely agree. And our last foreman meeting, I let the street department foreman know we need to start rotating that.
Yeah.
Especially if we're going to break the town into halves. It's not a great way to do it. It's just, that's the unfortunate way we have to do it with our lack of trucks. And to that, I don't know if you guys probably remember, we're going to go with Enterprise Fleet Services for our pickup trucks. They also have a division that does heavy trucks. So we actually have a meeting with them tomorrow. I'm going to bring that up to them and see what kind of programs they offer for that, because that could be a very viable option for us to go that route.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Fowler?
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Have we, you did answer some of my questions already about maybe some new equipment. I just was wondering if you said we were gonna try to get buy some trucks or lease some trucks.
Well, the way it works, it'd be from what I understand, it'll be very similar to the pickup truck program, where we buy them, but it's like a lease program. So if you remember with the pickup trucks, basically we buy them under a lease sort of deal for 2 years and then we sell them. I'm hoping that this large truck program will be the same, but like I said, I won't know more until tomorrow's meeting. So.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Mayor, if I may.
Go ahead.
The biggest issue, if I can, Director Miller hit on that in our DP, the lack of equipment. Just with the series of transition that we've had within that department, we have not been able to devote the proper attention that's been needed to upgrade some of that equipment. So having Director Miller in this position, that is one of our top priorities right now, looking at what we have in place, what we need to replace, seeking out different programs such as the Enterprise Fleet Management Program to see how we can replace and get proper equipment to service our community. Our community has not decreased in size. The services that we have to provide have not decreased in size. However, over the years, we've had to reduce the number of employees that we've had here at the city. So we are still required and expected to maintain and perform the services that we did when we had over 100 employees. Now we have little over 50 full-time employees. So we are evaluating our operations and internal operations as well as our equipment, and we are really focused on improving the services within that department.
Yep.
Mayor Pro Tem Jackson.
Yes, thank you for clarifying that, Mr. Miller, on what you did for as far as the cleaning, because that was one of the questions. The second one is that when you did get the information that someone's inquiring about the trees, did you answer them?
Yeah.
You did? Okay, Eden Street? Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Mhm.
Because I know
Yeah.
I had to also step in. I just want to make sure because I don't want that to come back to me. So that'd have been 2 individuals that asked about the trees. Okay.
Yep, Eaton Street, there was actually 2 trees on Eaton Street that I have Rusty stopped right now, but I do have him going out there to take a look at it. Both of those this week, and hopefully I can meet with him later on and we can go over those together. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And thank you for filling those holes also on Eaton Street because they got terrible. I went over with one day with the bus and I was like, whoa, I said I need to make a phone call. And when I got back home, it was taken care of. I was like, woohoo, I love that. So thank you so much.
Yep.
Councilwoman Lawler.
Do we have any certified mechanics?
No, we do not. And I don't really know what to say about that. The city doesn't really pay enough for a certified mechanic. The mechanic that we've had for years and years and years has just kind of been someone that works on vehicles and does the best out of everybody. To get a certified mechanic, you're $30 an hour. We just don't offer that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Miller.
Yep. And just so everybody knows, our newest, best plow truck in the whole fleet is a 2008, and it has an air leak and a fuel leak. And we're making the best we can with it. It's not good in our equipment right now.
You know, and that's a problem because this didn't just come up. You know, it's not just your fault this time. It's just that Albion for years have not updated like they should have. And it's about time that starts getting done so that we don't end up in situations like we're in now.
Right.
And one other thing I'd like to ask about is, the gutters along the side of the street. Right up from me, there's a gentleman who when it snows and it melts and it freezes, that gutter, I don't know what's wrong with it, but the water don't go in, and when he backs out, his car slides over into the other people's yard across the street. What can be done about that?
The biggest problem with our gutters and our storm drains, we do not do leaf removal anymore. The leaf pickup that we did in the city was phenomenal for that. And now we are very much struggling with our catch basin and gutter pans. We kind of go around in the fall with a street sweeper. It's not ideal. It picks up some of the leaves. And then, as you well know, you see us out there with a loader scooping up the catch basins, because even though we don't do a leaf pickup, if we don't do anything at all, it's just going to be flooded. So anytime you see something like that, call it in, give us an address, because usually there's a catch basin there and maybe it's plugged. We can go out, suck it out, keep it clean, and then hopefully that'll help with the drainage.
And with that, we have to remind our residents to not rake their leaves into the streets and into the gutters. We have the curbside leaf pickup, and we have to really utilize that service with Granger, because it causes other issues with us not doing the citywide leaf pickup. We're not going around cleaning out those gutters regularly like we would if we were doing that on a consistent basis. With this, I can say we have a lot of cans in our community that have been kicked down the road for years. And it is time we are going around and we are picking up those cans because we can no longer kick them down the road. We have that with a lot of departments here in our community. All of my department heads, we are well aware of all of the many heavy cans that we have in the community that we have to, it's time to pick them up and address and do something about them. So I'm very happy to say that we are working as a team to kind of address some of these concerns and issues, and we are actively working to improve the services that we do provide to our community, because it has been an ongoing issue for some years now. So, and we're trying to take the proper steps to address it. So with that, we hear you. We see it every day, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. till 5 p.m. And we are doing everything that we can to alleviate some of these burdens on our residents.
Yep. I guess the next couple of things I'd like to hit on is the wastewater plant. Like I said last time, our wastewater plant is in dire need of repair. We just had a secondary sweep arm fail. So they got that taken apart right now, trying to repair that. It's already been cobbled together a few times. The grinder pump that is going to go into the digester building. We did receive a quote on that. That should be probably coming to you guys next meeting. So you'll see more on the wastewater plant. Hopefully we can get that loan going through and the upgrade process started very soon. The water department cross connection inspections will begin soon. Basically, HydroCorp is a company that we contract out, and they will inspect the residents this year and commercial buildings as well. That's part of our state program. And then lastly, I think, is personnel. A huge thing is we're going to lose Jay Loomis. He retires on the 12th. He's the water department foreman. So we'll need to replace him, and he's going to take a lot of knowledge with us, but or with him, but hopefully we can get someone to fill his shoes or try. We're still looking for a street superintendent and a cemetery sexton.
Right, do we have any comments or questions for Mr. Miller before he leaves us? Yes, Councilwoman Clark?
Patrick, for that update. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is good information because a lot of times, like, you know, the council members have been saying, you know, they get contacted and we need to know kind of what we need to tell our citizens. So that information is very helpful.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, well, thank you for taking the time to be with us tonight.
Thanks, guys.
Good night. All right, future agenda items. What do we want to have placed on the next agenda? Yes, Councilwoman Clark.
Yes, we just recently lost a very important woman in this city. And I would like to, we had voted at one time to name a street after the president of Albion College. And I would like to also honor her by naming either the street where she lives, because it's only one, she lives on a corner, she lived on a corner, and there's only one house on that corner going into the dirt road. And I talked to the zoning person today, and he's checking on some information for me for that to get back with me. And I know it was suggested that maybe where her business was, but I don't know if that's going to be able to happen. Cullen, you can maybe help with that, because there's residents on that city where when we approved it the last time for Albion College, no residents were interrupted. So I don't know exactly where that's at. So I would just like to put that on the agenda for the next meeting to see if we could honor her in that way.
Yes, thank you for that, Councilmember Clark. We have started having some of those conversations here about how we would like to honor Ms. Gamble. With that, it will be, I think with renaming a street, it will be a process. I believe we would have to hold a public hearing just to seek any comment from any of the residents, but yes, we can look into that option.
Yeah, and to follow up with what Haley just said, we definitely have to have a public hearing, but since there would be other residents that are potentially affected, we would also likely incur any costs associated with the name change. That's something we didn't run into before, but it's something we can explore.
Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Jackson?
Yes, and I know it hasn't taken place yet, but if we could also get a proclamation for her because of the business being there for 30 years. She's been a business owner for over 30 years.
I'm working on that, Nora.
You know how they do. They ask too many people, so you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah,
they ask the same thing. They ask the same thing you already said, so I have to at least make sure it's getting addressed. So.
Yeah, I spoke with the family today. I'm gathering the information to put that together, and we should have it soon.
Any other future agenda items? Councilwoman Lawler.
Thank you, Ms. Mayor. Can I add a discussion action item for the Albion, the rest of the Albion entities, possibly uploading their meetings on YouTube like we do, for transparency and for the people that would like to attend some of these meetings but can't?
City Manager Snyder, don't they already do that? At least the meetings I've been on, it seems like they're all been recorded.
For the city, the only meetings that have been recorded are council meetings.
Yeah, but my phone and my insurance.
Not what you, no, the phone is what you owe me, right?
Phone and for my insurance.
Okay, I got that on the list, Councilwoman Lawler. Councilwoman Lanu.
Thank you, Mayor Snyder. I'm requesting that our council goals be discussed and approved at the next council meeting for the year.
Got it. Any other items? All right. Do we have anybody on for public comments?
Just allowing Gary Tompkins hold, please. Welcome, Gary.
Hi there. Good evening, everybody. How are we this evening?
Hanging in there.
Hey, first and foremost, let me say that I am so sorry for the last meeting. So I was doing a dual meeting, trying to do things at one time, and unfortunately, you guys put me on and I wasn't there, so I do apologize for that. So anyway, good evening to Madam Mayor, the council members, City Manager Snyder, and Clerk Domingo, and the residents of the City of Albion that are watching this evening. Good evening, Gary Tompkins, your Callaghan County Commissioner. First and foremost, at the last commissioners meeting, we appointed commissioners to over 33 different committees. I will continue to be serving on the Senior Millage Allocation Committee, as well as the Homer Lake Board, and I have some actually new committee assignments that I'll be diving into. First and foremost, the Callaghan County Commissioners Budget Committee, which oversees the sheriff, the prosecutor, the Water Resource Commissioner, the treasurer, and so on. So very honored to be part of that committee. Also, the Callaghan County Economic Development Corporation, the Community Action of South Central Michigan Governing Board, the Callaghan County Solid Waste Advisory Committee, and then with that, also the Southwest Michigan Solid Waste Consortium. So a lot of new opportunities for me to dive in and get acclimated to certainly those areas, and looking forward to that challenge. With respect to social isolation, you heard earlier this evening with your P.A.C.E presentation, that very thing about social isolation. The social isolation subcommittee, which is part of the senior millage, has been ongoing. I'm happy to be part of that. Has put together its final draft of its report. We'll be presenting it to the full committee this Friday, March 5th. This subcommittee is reviewing how senior millage can use its resources to address this issue, especially during COVID and beyond. With the full committee's approval, we expect the plan to have a start date of May 1st. So essentially, as you know, social isolation has been going on many, many years before, certainly COVID, but it really has come to the limelight. And we're really looking at what options and opportunities we may have to get more people involved in the process and actually going out and meeting the seniors as opposed to waiting for them to address us. So stay tuned for that. As that is approved, I'll be letting you know what that plan looks like. On the COVID front, as we still at Callaghan County remain in a phase 1A and B at this time, which is residents 65 and older, as well as school staff, and as well as we will be heading into daycare as well very soon. As you know, Johnson & Johnson just had a new one-shot vaccine approved, which doesn't require extreme temperature preservation. We're hoping that that will actually be able to speed up the process to get more people vaccinated as we move forward. So our biggest issue here in Callaghan County has been simply that we don't have enough vaccine. We've been doing starting to do a lot of micro clinics and whatnot throughout the county, including in Albion. It's just a matter right now of having the available vaccine. So again, if you do know anybody that's 65 years and older and wants to get that vaccine and maybe isn't on the list, have them call 269-441-0912 to schedule that appointment. Or what I've seen today also, you can also contact the Albion Healthcare Alliance as well, as they're going to be doing some of that assignment scheduling too as well. So take advantage of that opportunity. I still believe there may be seniors out there that may not know that that vaccination even exists or is possible for that. So again, with the social isolation and many of our seniors not having internet or any connection with folks, it could be a challenge. So just something to keep in mind as we move forward. Speaking of which, in my monthly newsletter this month, I highlight part of what will be provided as part of the Senior Services Annual Report, which I chair, which reflects that about 5,449 seniors were served in 2020, which is about 16.7% of the total senior population in Callaghan County. Overall, about 1,119 less seniors, or about 17.04% less, were served than in 2019. Much of that reduction was from COVID, certainly, as you know, and the closure of many sites that offer services, certainly for seniors. Specifically in the city of Albion, 573 of a total 1,595 seniors, or about 35.92%, were served in 2020, which is about a 9% reduction from 2019. And again, much of that reduction was from COVID and certainly the closure of the Fork Senior Center and many of the senior services that we're able to provide with COVID is really affected. So in addition to that social isolation committee that I referenced from, is really getting ourselves back on track to really go out and find those seniors and make sure they're getting the services that they need, certainly during these very difficult times. Also, as you know, I highlight a number of upcoming recycling events that'll be in the county coming forward. There will be a hazardous waste event on April 24th at the Toller Building in Battle Creek from 9 a.m. to noon, as well as an appliance electronics event in April, on April 10th from 9 a.m. to noon at the City of Battle Creek Public Works. Additionally, there are also 2 scrap tire collections that have been officially dated, one on June 14th at Athens Township from noon to 5, and from August 9th from noon until 5 at the Teconcha Village offices. As you guys know, the appliance and electronics and scrap tire collection that you guys typically run in the city of Albion there are yet to be determined date. Is that correct, City Manager Snyder? You guys have not come to a date on those, correct, as of yet, correct?
No, I believe Director Miller has provided one to the county, just waiting to see if that works with their vendors.
Okay, very good. Okay. And then certainly, as we know, that there's no timetable for an opening of the county recycling center that's in Marshall, just as a remote because of COVID. So again, a lot of things going on. COVID has affected many of us for so much, and we're hoping that we'll be able to get out of the vaccination stage here moving forward. So we're looking forward to that. And I just want to finish tonight on a very, very positive note. I had the absolute honor and privilege this past Saturday to be in the presence of Henderson and Lula Harris as they celebrated their 70th wedding anniversary. I issued a proclamation to them, got to spend some time with them as well as their family, and also did the drive-by celebration. And I want to just tell you what an incredible couple. Henderson being 93 and Lula being 91, and being able to be there Saturday to celebrate their 70th wedding anniversary. So, you know, there's a lot of times in these type of jobs that we deal with a lot of difficult issues, but that was one that I will tell you that I was really truly honored to be part of. So a lot of things going on. Certainly, I apologize for taking so much time, but I hope we continue to move forward with this, and I'll be getting more information to you. On one note, Ms. Reed, if you take a look at your email regarding the a potential opportunity for you, it will be in your email. So, and I'll look for some other things as well. So again, it is great to be with you folks each and every meeting, and I look forward to many more. We'll see you soon. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you for the update. We appreciate it. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Do we have any other public comments on tonight?
Not seeing any more.
None at this time.
Okay. All right, so we are on to our city manager report.
Yes, so thank you. A copy of my report was included in the packet. The first thing I would like to update, the Battle Creek YMCA, they are looking to hire the Albion Recreation Manager. I have included a complete job description in the packet as well. It can be found on the city's website. They will need to contact the Battle Creek YMCA though, if you are interested in applying, or if you can reach out to the city manager's office and we will connect them with someone at the Y. The Albion YMCA kickoff program, Fitness and a Feature, has been a great success. When talking with people from the Y, they are averaging about 8 to 10 participants, with the largest turnout is with 15. So that program has been a success. The March program schedule has been included in the packet as well. They have a month full of programs for all age groups. The Albion COVID vaccine clinic work group, myself as well as Jesse, we have been working with the Albion Healthcare Alliance and members from the Callaghan Public Health Department to get microclinics scheduled here in Albion. As Commissioner Tompkins said, it's just a matter, Callaghan County is not receiving the number of vaccines that we are putting in each week. So we're not receiving the proper numbers that we have. We have the last meeting, they said it was over 132 pages, the wait list. So we have a lot of people within Callaghan County who are on the wait list to receive the vaccine. It's just a matter of getting enough doses to serve everyone within the eligible groups. With that though, if you do know anyone who falls within the 2 categories who are eligible to receive the vaccine, please encourage them to call the Public Health Department or the Albion Healthcare Alliance to get put on that waiting list. I just want to remind everyone, the current clinics, they are not publicized. So if you do find out the location, please do not share that location at this time. We have run into the instance where some people who are not on the waiting list, they just pop up at the clinic, and that does really throw a wrench into their services. The clinics, they have a process, and so you must have a scheduled appointment, and you must get put on the waiting list before you just show up at a clinic. So please just encourage anyone who reach out to you to call the health department, leave their information. Someone will reach out to them and make sure that they get put on that waiting list. And then also we have any information regarding COVID-19 and the vaccine can be found on the main page of the city's website. Jesse has done a great job at keeping all of the information up to date anytime anything is release. So please encourage your constituents to check out the city's website. It's on the front page under COVID-19 info and resources. I wanted to provide an update on the EDC, DDA, and Albion Chamber Service Agreement. So the subgroup, Emily Verbecki representing the DDA, Herman McCall with the EDC, Amy Ryman with the Chamber, Richard Lindsay, and myself, we have met a few times now to develop the initial service agreement. Forming the new entity who would provide the services to the DDA, EDC, and Chamber. I want to clear there, this was not a merger. So the boards, the EDC board and DDA board will not dissolve. Those boards will remain in place. This new entity will just enter into a service agreement with those other 3 organizations to essentially provide those services. The initial draft agreement has been reviewed by the city attorney and all 3 boards. At this time, we are just waiting for each board to identify the level of service they would like to receive from the new entity before bringing it to council for that final approval. This kind of just shows, it'll kind of clear the air and really help everyone better understand what this service agreement will kind of look like. So we are just waiting for the boards to really identify the level of service that they would like to receive from this entity, of the new entity, and then it will come before council for that final approval. The Albion Food Hub, the Albion Building Authority, or the ABA, closed on the sale of the food hub on Tuesday, February 23rd. The building was purchased by ACE Investment Properties. At this time, food distribution will still continue from that location. So that is not moving, that is not going away. So that will still continue to happen. Just wanted to provide you with an update that the ABA no longer owns that food hub building. And then I just wanted to share with everyone, I will be out of the area starting on March 3rd and will be returning on March 7th. During this time, if you have any immediate needs or any issues arise, please contact my executive assistant, Jesse Whitfield, or Chief Scott Kipp. They will make sure that any questions are answered until I am able to return back to the area. And then I just always have included just the City Hall operations, just as a reminder, we still are open to the public, just with limited hours, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Till 3 p.m. However, our city staff is here from 8 a.m. till 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. So you can always reach us by phone or email. And that is all I have.
Awesome. Any questions for City Manager Snyder on the information she just shared? All right, well, thank you for that update. So I guess we are finally on council member comments. Would anybody like to share? Yes, Councilwoman Clark.
Yes, thank you so much, Mayor, for the way you conduct your meetings and the way you handle them. I noticed that you listen very attentively and you bring back points that people have said that maybe were missed. I appreciate that. I just wanted to recognize that and give you some kudos for that.
Well, thank you.
It's a pleasant and refreshing experience. Hopefully we can maybe get enough funding for the park. I will be seeing if I can help along with that to get some fundraising, or maybe there's something that we can do to get this done. I know you've been trying to get it done for a long time. I appreciate all you council members and your efforts and things that you say and share. And I'm enjoying being on the council. And Haley, you're doing an excellent job.
Any other comments council would like to share? So I guess if no one else does, I just will make a quick little statement. For those of you out there that hasn't seen the recent controversy going on at Marshall Public High School, the past few weeks have been a bit of an issue for a student group that got permission to paint the Black Lives Matter signage on the cafeteria window. So there has been a lot of controversy, a lot of talk, a lot of hurt feelings that have come out from that incident. Yesterday, Albion standing along with the students, it was very much student-led, that organized a rally in Marshall to show support. Myself and Councilwoman Lawler were there present to also show support for our students. I just wanted to let the students know that Albion City Council unequivocally stands behind them. I have so much admiration for those students putting themselves out there, by speaking about this, by being visible with this. Their bravery is outstanding. So I just wanted to let the students in Albion know, the students in Marshall know, Albion City Council stands behind them. And so I just hope that we continue to support our students, because that's what we're here for. We are here to support our youth and their initiatives. And I am so proud of the work that they're doing, because it is constant conversation. This had to be brought up again. It's not a political issue. This is about civil human rights. And the students who were brave enough to bring this to the forefront again, my hats are off to them. So any other comments?
Oh, I got one more thing to say. I'm sorry.
Yes, Councilman Clark.
So I am working on the proclamation. Again, I wanted to say that. And I did speak to the family. And, I think sometimes people need to be a little bit more sensitive when people are going through a period of grieving. A lot of times we go forth and we want to do efforts to do something because the way we feel and how we, felt about the person and move forward. But you always got to remember when somebody has lost a family member, the most important person first and what needs to be done is the family. And that's why I'm doing things the way I am and we'll do things the way they want them to be done. Thank you.
Thank you for that. All right, so Councilman Williamson, Councilwoman Lawler did have to excuse themselves early from tonight's meeting. So they made a connection with me about that. So do I have a motion to excuse the absent council members?
So moved.
Second.
Awesome. Can I get a roll call on this, please, City Clerk Domingo?
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Lanu,
Yes.
Mayor Snyder.
Yes. And do I have a movement for adjournment?
So moved.
Support.
Second it.
Awesome. All right, so roll call on adjournment. City Clerk Domingo?
Councilmember Clark,
Yes.
Reed,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Lawler, Lanu,
Yes.
and Mayor Snyder.
Yes. All right, folks, so it is 9:27 p.m. I know it was a little bit longer than what we wanted, but it was a good meeting, and we will see you all back in another 2 weeks. City Manager Snyder, enjoy your time away.
Yes.
Thank you. Have a good night,